can tell her anything. She's a real good listener. You can tell her anything.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Father Longlegs. You know me, Daddy T. The wicked bitch of the yes. Okay, that's a new one. I don't like that one that much. But I'm here with my guest, who you may have heard that lovely laugh. I'm so excited to have him on the pod. He was a former staff member on college staff. I don't know, cast member. I don't know what they brand themselves now these days. A prefect, whatever. Former well-known popular figure on College Humor, is an internet personality, a great comedian, and has a series on Netflix called Pretty Smart coming out October 8th. Give it up for Raphael Chestang.
Yeah, you better be giving it up in your cars and in your homes. Now, College Humor, they don't refer to themselves at anything anymore. Because it basically, basically.
It's okay.
Dead, yeah.
You graduated. I
graduated.
was at Cracked. Cracked was similar, and it's.
Oh, big fan of Cracked.
Oh, thank you. But I still feel I was never like as prominent as a cast member, because I technically was a producer and finagled my way into writing.
Yes.
But they were like, everyone here is white. We need to put you on screen sometimes. And no, I love everyone at Cracked, but that part is true. I understand the whole thing shut down, but still have love for the people, but also secretly want to hate a company for letting go a bunch of people, which I'm sure you can't talk about, so don't.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess I could now because severance has already been paid out. So there's no real real repercussions, but we'll steer clear and be straight.
Clear. You're thriving. You're in a Netflix series. I picked a tweet of yours. I like to read a tweet to intro us. This is from Raf's Twitter. If free will is real, why haven't we finished our pilots?
Yeah.
I'm based on that one, so a lot of shared misery there.
I think that was a quarantine tweet, and I kind of got a little bit. I got back into. Before we started, we were talking about reverting back to like your old versions of yourself, and in quarantine, I reverted to like a little bit my high school self and like getting into like philosophy and shit like that. And I started to seriously question the whole idea of free will, or at least the idea of free will as I understood it. Could not I couldn't see that is actually a real thing as I understood it to be.
I'm so many things in that sentence to unpack. First of all, I was gonna say if you know me, but we like know each other as comedian friends, which is like, to say we do and we don't.
Yes.
So, when you said philosophy, I got excited because I'm not like a scholar philosopher, but I love to wax poetic / high about philosophy. So I'm very excited about this conversation already. And you mentioned quarantine, and I do want to fill the audience in because we had a talk right at the start of quarantine. Do you remember this?
Yes. Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk about this?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I don't know why I wouldn't. I did not bring up. It came to me as you said that, but early on, you like literally, I feel like first week of quarantine or something, when we thought it was very short, when we were like, just stay home for 2 weeks, guys.
Yep.
You asked me about like stand up in LA, and it was very lovely. We had a nice convo, but I remember being like, like, does he know we are gonna be hitting this for a while? Like I had a feeling we were not, like I was thinking like I'm not gonna be doing stand for a year. I had just canceled my tour. Like, I was like, what is happening? I had just started maybe an Instagram show that would keep going, and then I was like, happy to help, but just so you know, not a good time. But I love that. Did you ever end up like taking action on that? You had stand up is what the conversation was about.
Right. Yeah. After College Humor had ended, I was like, well, I got a little bit more time on my hands now. I'm not like spending every night, trying to write or edit sketches. So, but no. So I might.
It's okay. I mean, neither did I. I just really started doing stand-up this month.
Hell yeah. No, I love, that's so incredible. And it sounds fun. You said you were about to do a college?
I am doing oh, that's right. I'm doing a college in like Fitchburg, Massachusetts, which I've never been to. I'm sure it will be not fun, but it's...
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know. It'll be fine. College gigs are weird. Please book me. But no, they're just weird because it's like, you know, when I was in college, like we had so many things to go to and they were all free. And like, I'm sure the people got paid, but the students aren't paying for them. So, well, they are, but not directly. So there's this, like, it's a different feeling. Versus, like, I'm happy to do college shows. They pay well. They help me pay my bills. But when I do like a bar show where everyone wants to be there, it feels different.
Got
feels
it.
Different.
Okay. Got it.
But, you know, grateful for the opportunity. I should probably cut this out. I won't. This is a podcast in the spirit of honesty. I do like to ask. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Well, I'd like to, so before this isn't like your big confession, but I always ask for a good confession because sometimes we go to a dark place. So as a way for my confidants, listeners, as I call them, to get to know you, just like a quick humble brag. Is there anything good you want to confess? Like something you're excited about, you're proud of, something you want to hype up, or really anything as long as it's positive?
You know, this is gonna sound not positive, but to me it is. I never completed 5th grade. So to me, I'm doing pretty good. Like if you grade me on that curve, like I'm pretty successful for somebody that never completed the 5th grade.
What do you mean? Like I assume then you went on to 6th grade, or you just
I went on to 6th grade, but it wasn't like I skipped a grade. Like it wasn't like a teacher was like, oh, he's so smart, he doesn't need to be here. It was that I got pulled out of school and never went back in until 6th grade. We were in the middle of moving, and gotcha. My parents weren't, or at least my mom wasn't like huge on school. Like some parents are really like education is super crazy important. Which, you know, they obviously wanted me to get a degree, which I didn't do neither. But
you worked for college humor.
Yeah, that was my college. Yeah, absolutely. That was my comedy college. But never completed the 5th grade. We were moving to Memphis from Chicago, or from at that time we lived in South Holland, Illinois, which is like 20 minutes south of Chicago. And
well, that's a big move. That's a whole different state.
Yeah, an entirely different state, an entirely different culture. That was a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah. You're that young to make new friends in a new state.
Yeah, I was like 10 or 11. I was very excited for the new thing. And so my thing was like, I was like, okay, this is great. I can reinvent myself and be cool. That never really happened, but but I did learn something from that. We moved around a couple of different times, but something that I learned from moving around so much at that age is that you have to like accept every place as it is. You can't, because my initial instinct was to compare every place to Chicago. Like sometimes people come out here from New York and they're comparing it to New York, and that's just not what it is. So you kind of have to just look at it as its own thing and grade it on its own scale, its own merit or whatever, like not comparing it to like a whole other.
That's a good way to, I mean, I don't know if there's a better term for this. Like I kind of think of it as like non-binary thinking, but I know that can also bring up a different thing, which is like non-binary as an identity, which is also important, but I don't know how else to describe it besides the idea of like, instead of thinking against something, you just start from like everything is in the moment present, like a 0, and then you experience it. But I definitely used to be guilty of that New York comparison, because before this, you know, for the listeners who don't know, before this started, we were talking a bit about I'm in New York now, but I used to live here, and how I do like LA a lot now, but when I come here I revert to this like kind of a shittier version of myself, and it's like the version that I thought was cool in New York. And when I first moved to LA, I was like very arrogant about it. Like I felt like it made me better to be unhappy and to like have more experiences in New York. And I judged everyone in LA for just like wanting to thrive and hike and like look at the moon. And I was like, these guys don't know how to live. They're so
they're soft. They're soft. Yeah. And
but
fake,
now I'm like, they are happy. Yeah, you know, some of them aren't, but that's okay. They're on their way. There's nothing wrong with just being where you are and like thriving in that culture. And then if you don't like it, leave. But I think New Yorkers feel they have to move to LA in spite of themselves, and that's why they hate it so much. And it's like, just don't move there. because of Hollywood, you know, but it's like, just don't move there if you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was watching speaking of happy things, I was watching this documentary on 9/11. Spike Lee did this documentary on 9/11, but they were showing like all these actors that I had no idea lived in Brooklyn. John Turturro was one, and I think Rosie Perez was another one. But I feel like she's from the Bronx, but I think she lives in, whatever. Anyway,
she plays Brooklyn a lot, but I'm like, it's hard to tell with Hollywood. Sometimes they're like, I'm Canadian. You're like, okay. It's like Australia or Canadian. Yeah, and they're all I'm going to play like I'm from South LA, but I'm from Toronto. Like, that's fine, all right. Look, actors do work.
Right, yeah, that's real. Yeah. You can't,
So you didn't grow up, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in California?
Yeah, I grew up in a couple of different places. So I was born in Chicago. We moved to South Holland, which is a Chicago suburb, when I was 7. And then, when I was 10, we moved to Memphis. Then we stayed there for a year. Then we moved to Carmel, Indiana, which is outside of Indianapolis. Stayed there for a year. Then we moved back to the Chicagoland area. Then I moved, my sister burned the house down. We moved to Hammond, Indiana. Then we moved back.
I mean, we can gloss over that or not. I don't know. Like, is there a 1-sentence summary of what happened there?
Well, she was like 7 years old.
Okay.
And you know how when you're 7 and you get your first house key, like it's your first thing of like responsibility. Like this is the first important thing that you own.
You get your house key, and then you get the
Exactly. Well, she had it. She was like making up her bed, and I guess she had pushed the key had fell in between the wall and the bed, and she had pushed the bed up against the wall and accidentally jammed the key into an electrical socket.
Oh no!
So she's looking for a key. She can't find it. Then she sees where it is, and she just starts yanking it out, like desperately trying to get this thing out of there. And then sparks start flying. She tells my brother, and my brother's like, close the door. so they just closed the door. My parents weren't there at the time. This was during the summer. And I was supposed to be watching them, but I was at the library like a cool kid. Like we already established. I was trying to be cool. But anyway,
snuck out to go to the library.
To the library.
How old were you?
I was 13 then. Yeah. I was 13. And my dad came home. And there's smoke like blowing out of my sister's bedroom window. So he's terrified. And then he asked me what happened. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I have no clue. From his perspective, I've been here the whole time. Of course, I should be able to give a report of why there's black smoke coming out of my sister's room. But I had no idea. So he starts calling 911. I go to grab the fire extinguisher. I remember the fire extinguisher was in the laundry room. So I grabbed that, but my dad grabs me before I can go upstairs to my sister's room to put it out. So we're outside. We're waiting for the fire department. The fire department comes, and the fire chief goes, he's like, okay, whose idea was it to close the door? And I was like, uh-oh. And my brother was like, that was me. And the chief is like, smart. That was a good idea. You saved the rest of the house, basically. By closing that door, you contained the fire. This is okay, great job. Then he goes, all right, whose idea was it to grab the fire extinguisher? I was like, that was me. And he goes, dum. He's like, he's like 2 inches from my face. He's like, I'm 13 years old. He's like, dum.
What?
That's
what I would have thought you're supposed to do.
Well, of course, apparently.
It's called a fire extinguisher.
but apparently if it's those are only for like really small stove fires or something, stovetop fires. If it's a bigger fire, it actually exasperates it. It makes it grow bigger, faster, stronger. What? Yeah. It feeds the flame.
Like the Daft Punk song. That's not helpful at all. I mean, like they should just start calling doors fire extinguishers. We remember, like. Wow. Well, I mean, I'm glad that everyone was okay. That sounds
everybody
like
was
a
okay.
big story, but wow,
everybody was okay.
I like that you said you were not cool because I know that. Well, I mean, obviously, I was also not cool, but
obviously,
I was the one that read the books under the table while the teacher was talking. And,
oh wow,
that was me. But
but now that is cool. I feel like when we were growing up, it wasn't cool. But I think now, I feel like this which generation are we on now?
Because
Z?
books are like vintage now. That's why. Yeah, it's like instead of looking at your phone, you're looking at a book. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, like what was the White Lotus? The girls that are reading the books by the pool.
Oh yes, I've seen
they're
the
cool.
memes. Yeah, I didn't watch it yet. I watched the trailer and I was like, I should watch it. Everyone's talking about it.
It's not. It's basically like a Succession holder. Like this will hold you over. If you're a fan of Succession, this will hold you over until the next season. Yeah.
Well, the reason I brought up your nerdiness because on College Humor you always play a nerd, like, or the way people, like. I was curious because in the sketches, like when you guys play yourselves or versions of yourself, there's always this like oh, Raph isn't cool or whatever. Yeah. Is that something you pitched, or is that like you just kind of brought that into your comedy and just like let it kind of like flourish as your comedy persona? I mean, obviously you're not like talking to you, like you're very cool and like very well adjusted, but it's definitely a character you play up in the sketches. So I'm just curious. Wow. How that right?
That is the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
What?
No, so you know, it's a little bit based on perception, but also it's not that far from the truth, and it's definitely at least a side or an angle that works. And I think it works just based on perception. Like people look at you and then they categorize you as, you know, just based off what you look like. Like, this is, okay, yeah, that's believable. I believe that. And, yeah, let's go with that. That's what I want to see from you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like with however you are perceived, it like narrows down what people want to see from you. Or what they'll accept.
Or the version of you. I think it's the version that you like. And it feels then people can be on board without feeling like, because I think there's like I guess kind of more alty comedy, which I would call. It's funny because College Humor used to be super like bro-y comedy.
You're right. But
like the world where it's almost like positive in that like let's laugh, but like consensually at the people who want to be laughed at.
Right.
Wasn't the 80s version of comedy, but
I
think it's fun. But there's the fun of it is knowing that like you're in on it too.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to punch down. Yeah. Not today. Yeah, like you were saying, like maybe in the 80s that was okay, but you do not want to you always want to be punching up for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break. When we get back, I will get your confession. All right, we're back. Okay, time has come. Raphael, is there anything you would like to tell me?
So this is the only reason I'm confessing this is because it's beyond the statute of limitations as I understand it to be. The statute of limitations on a crime like this is 5 to 10 years.
Did you burn down another house? No.
Oh man, just all over the country. So when I was 15, 16, I was a junior in high school. And I would make counterfeit bills and spend them in the cafeteria, like to buy food and stuff. Yeah.
That's like really genius.
Well,
like where? Okay, I have many questions. I'm sure there's a story behind it.
Go ahead.
Where did it come from? Like, was this something that was like a grift happening in the school where you like you got let in on the secret operation the big kids were doing that passed it on, or were you just one day like, I'm in the library, let me read about bills. Oh, I can make one. Like what? Like how did this begin?
So first, what you just said about the big kids and like, is this a ring that's happening in the school or whatever, like a crime circle that's happening in the school? That comes a little bit later on. It involves my brother.
Okay.
No.
You're like, I changed my name. That's why you guys had to move so much.
That's why we had to move all over the place. What I got it from was so Discovery Channel used to do actual like documentary stuff, and it was from a Discovery Channel documentary about a counterfeiter, and they showed how he did it, but they did it with the caveat or with the warning of Now, we don't want you to do this because because this guy who we're doing the documentary on, who got caught for this, actually learned how to do it from a documentary. So definitely don't do it.
Wow.
So my thing was, this guy got caught because he got greedy. He was making all these like $100 bills and like he had like a suitcase full of them. He's going to all these gas stations and passing them off. So my thing was, just keep it small, baby. Just keep it small.
Wait, how old were you? You junior, 15? Okay.
Yeah, 15 or 16.
So you're still a minor,
probably 16.
so like you
exactly,
know, kids who understand the legal system, and most don't, but like if you know that you're not yet an adult, you can get away with a lot. And like you don't hurt people, but if you're just trying to run like a cash operation, like your record can get wiped. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But
no,
I think it's much less severe if you're like, I'm robbing my school. Like I'm robbing the system who has like taken things from me because I'm a child with no working money or tax dollars anyways. So it's like,
exactly. Like, and that's exactly how I looked at it. I was like, hey, I'm taking, you should be giving me this food. This should be free food. But
they should be paying you. That's learning in school. If you can learn how to you're doing more learning than most kids at your school.
Maybe. I hope so. I did not finish in 5th grade. I wasn't doing any learning at all. Did not finish 5th grade. But yeah, by that time, also did not finish sophomore year of high school. Same situation. We moved again. I got yanked out of school. Did not go back in until junior year. But
I'm curious about because I want to hear about how you started. But I'm also curious about like what little Raph was thinking. Like, was it like a fun? Because there's so many things we get into as kids that can just be like, oh, we didn't think back on how like serious that was.
Yeah.
Or there's like, I think this is a serious thing and I'm going to take it with that gravitas. Like, I won't tell anyone. I'm going to get away with it. Or was it like, I don't know, let me see if this works. Like, what was the like vibe when you were trying this out?
Yeah, it was the minor thing, and I was like, if I get caught, it'll only be like, I'm using like $10 bills. But no, I did not realize, which is stupid. I did not realize how serious the government took their money, which is insane now to think about it. But no, they take that extremely seriously, and it doesn't really matter if you're 16 or not. Like they're gonna check up on you. They're gonna pay you a visit.
So what happened? How long did you run it for? So you made bills. Tell us how. No, don't tell us how to do it. We're not gonna condone doing it.
No, I won't do it. I won't do it.
Just watch his YouTube tutorials.
But I made them, and then I was able to pass them off in the cafeteria to buy food, to buy like lunches and breakfast and stuff like that. And I did that, I don't know, for maybe like a couple weeks. And then I was like, all right, I quit. I made like an announcement. I wasn't saying like I quit spending. I never told anybody that I spent the money except for my brother. But I was in the house, and I was like, this was in Tampa, Florida. We had moved to Tampa at this time. So I was like, I quit, and I threw like all this fake money on the coffee table, and my mom comes out and she's like, "What is this? How did you get all this money?" Thinking it's real, and I was like, "That's not real." She's like, she didn't really ask any other questions outside of this. She was just amazed, like, "Wow, you really? How did you do this? You just made this just here? That is so creative." Blah blah blah. But then my brother took those bills. So you made it
seem like you were just trying a thing.
Yes.
You never spent it. Okay.
Yeah, I never
it's
said.
It's not bad if I just did it for fun in this house and I didn't use it. Okay.
Yeah. But my brother took it. Now there was like one last step that you have to make for these in order to make it like actually feel real, which I had not completed for these bills. But my brother, just based off they look real, took these and went to school and was selling them and passing them to like
selling them. That's another layer. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're $10, so you could sell these for like $1 or something, or whatever, or $5, whatever it is. Yeah. But so he's good. So he's like, so he's doing. He's got his
making it into real money.
Yeah, he's making it into money. So he's doing that. and but yeah, he got caught eventually.
doing it.
Like somebody
The
caught.
pride.
And then he got two
Started
two
putting his
brass.
face on it. It's like,
Start signing them. Yeah, that's not good.
were you scared? Like, why did you quit? Were you genuinely like, I reached a place where I knew I could just do it? Like, it almost, okay, I used to think about things like watching heist movies, like, oh, here's how I would do it, and then want to know if I could do it. But in my head, it was always this like internal compass of like, not because I didn't want to be bad, but mostly because I was like, I just want to know I can. No, and then feel better then, and then like move on. But I didn't want to live in a world.
Thing.
Yeah, because I didn't want to live in a world where all of the smart me's were out there fucking over the world. So I'm like, I just want to know there's a lot of people out there who could and don't, and then that makes me trust the system more. But I'm curious like how you felt, because you didn't do it very long, right? So were you scared, or were you really just like, I just want to know I can do it and I'm done?
I knew I was. Somebody gave me a look one time. They looked at the bill like a little bit too long, and I was like, "All right, fuck it, I'm out." So yeah, after that, I quit. It was like one of the younger cafeteria workers, and yeah, she checked that just a little bit too long. But the line was so long, I think she was just like, fuck it, I gotta. It's $10, such and such. But
was it always tens, or did you try to like? Were you ever like, let me try to do this a little more?
No. I didn't do that. I stuck with, because I was such a big, like, The Goodfellas was probably my favorite movie at the time. And I said, don't get greedy, don't get flashy. Yeah, I knew that from gangster movies.
It is true though, because it's like really hard to get mad at a kid who's faking $10 to buy lunch. You know what I mean? Like, I know at some level it is like, oh, let me see if I can get away with it.
Right.
At another level, it's like, yeah, but like, who's gonna take you to court? Like, as a kid, like, I wanted to get lunch. Like, like nobody would be like, put this kid in jail for faking. It's like, we should just be buying him lunch. Like, like, you know, like I probably would have bought him lunch. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like a slap on the wrist, something like that. But well, I mean, yeah. What ended up happening is that there was a Secret Service agent that came to my brother's school.
Whoa.
We went to different high schools. Yeah, he got caught.
So it got serious. They called someone in.
They are serious about their money, Teresa. They are so serious about it.
How did that even? So were kids
They
like,
will come
reporting
get you.
it? Like there was a narc or something? Like
so one of the kids got caught with it and immediately narked on immediately snitched on my brother. So my brother got called into the principal's office. They had the Secret Service.
Did he snitch on you?
My brother? So here's what happens. My brother's in the yard. They called my mom up to the school. My mom knew, so she already has the previous knowledge. She knows where the bills came from. So she gets into the office and she's like in the back corner while they talk to my brother at the desk. And they ask him, how did you get the money? Where did you get the money? Whatever, the source of the shit. And my mom is sitting in the corner like, you better not snitch.
Oh my god.
That was her whole thing. My mom
just get stitches.
Yeah, you better not snitch. And he didn't. Of course he didn't. That's my homie. He did not.
Yeah, well that made me because it's funny thinking about what must have been going through their head, but I doubt their first thought was that it was just like a 15-year-old. Like they're probably like, oh, we've stumbled upon, there's a whole thing, you know, like maybe
probably. He's
getting it from someone else and maybe he's connected to something bigger, and it's like
right, or hoping that even because this was in small town Tampa, so this is like the Secret Service agent in Tampa, so they're probably hoping that it's like this big case that they can crack
like,
open.
Finally, I can make my name. But then it's like, no, it's not even any like big thing at school. It's literally like within your own house.
Right.
Your brother, and you had quit. Like it was like, the guy who did it like knew it was bad and gave up on it.
And now he's done.
So really, that's where it ends. Like, and they almost like would be embarrassed to like have to write that report up to be like, these kids got really good at doing Photoshop things.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
We got tricked, and then we thought maybe it was connected to a big thing, but turns out it was just his brother. Anyways,
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I was gone.
Damn. So they just believed him that he didn't, or he just said I made them, or how did?
Yeah, I mean they had to. Yeah, he was like, yeah, I just made it on my computer. So that's where my mom did get pissed, because then they came to the house. So they have to come to the house now, and they're checking the computer. They're like, okay, we're probably going to have to take your computer and your printer. Yeah, this is in, what, 2002, 03?
Just like a normal office jet printer or something. It's like...
Yeah, it's just a normal printer, but that's our, like, there's no laptops or nothing like that in the house. Like, this is our computer and printer, but they didn't end up taking it. They checked it. They were like, do you have any, nothing was saved on there. So, they let us, keep everything. But yeah, she was, that's the thing that she was pissed about. She was like, first of all, do not snitch. Okay, thank God that didn't happen. And then she was just pissed that, like, they would threaten to take our computer, but they didn't. So neither of us got, like, in trouble for that. But, it was a little sweaty
for a kid. But, like, it is also wild to think, like, because probably out of any, like, Best Buy wouldn't have flown. You know, like, it really worked because of the way the school ecosystem works, where you have kind of other dumb kids who will use it, and then, like, people aren't assuming that you're trying to, like, grift the system.
Right.
So the fact that Secret Service got involved and we're just like, this is not really anything we need to worry about. Like, it wouldn't have gone out of hand. If it had gone out of the school, it would have been squashed. Like, they were probably trying to make sure nothing big came out of it. But, like, that's so funny that they're like, oh, this is more about our system of money than it does about kids. Like, that they just fucked around and made fake bills. Like,
yeah, but I think the statute of limitations on that is it can't be longer. It's not longer than 10 years from everything that I've seen. So
and there's no evidence.
I'm in the clear.
And you quit.
Yeah, and there's no evidence. And it may or may not have happened.
And the way the legal system works, if you can't prove any damages, you literally, which is shitty. I don't love that, but it's true. Like, you can be like, that person was going to do this, and I stopped them. And then you're like, okay, so you stopped them. So what do you want now? It's like, I don't know, for them to be put away or not ever do that again. It's like, well, and when they do it, let us know. And you're like, what? When they kill me, let me know? Like, what?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what makes it so hard for, when I was at Entertainment Tonight for like 9 years, and it makes it really hard for, like, celebrities to get restraining orders, like, against like if there's fans that clearly present that could be an actual danger, like stalkers, you know, it's difficult for them to get restraining orders against them. It's almost like they have to say,
you have to prove that they actually hurt you in trying to kill you or something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like they have to actually make a if you get hurt, then we'll step in. Yeah, it's basically, the law doesn't prevent. They're not good at preventing things from happening or protecting you, and they're also not especially good at catching them after it happens.
Not at all.
So it's like. So that's a tough situation.
Yeah, that's a combo that I don't feel like will be too long to get into, but
that's
for sure. Feel free to Google.
That's a fully different thing.
The history of those domestic.
Also,
cases.
I should make clear, I didn't grow up poor. Like, we were like lower middle class.
No,
but
it
not
seemed like you weren't doing it out of necessity, right? You wanted to see if you could fuck the system.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't have. I mean, I didn't have lunch money, but I don't know why. I'm sure I could have just
packed
asked.
Lunches and you just wanted to buy lunch at school.
No packed lunches. I'm sure I could have just asked for money, but I for whatever reason, like, I was going in there. But yeah, we were not poor. Although that brings up a whole other thing also, because like when I was growing up, I thought, when I was little, I thought that to be in order to make it, if you were black, in order to make it, you had to have grown up poor. Does that make sense? Like, you had to have been from the projects or something. Yeah, right. Yeah. Because that's like, but not even artists. Like, even like Colin Powell. Colin Powell was from the Bronx. Like, even like people like that. Like, like I had never seen like a middle class person get, like, I couldn't name one. Like,
that's wild.
Like, obviously, entertainers and sports people.
No, but that definitely touches on a bigger like layered issue, which is like amongst the white gatekeepers or whatever. They're not all white, but generally speaking,
right.
The old school gatekeepers. There's a sense of wanting to feel like the benevolent, like, hand, like, oh, we pulled someone out
oh yeah,
in that sense, and they like love that. Not everyone, I know, blah blah blah, but like that feeling does really bleed into that trope that you're talking about, because it really feels like it's like if you do make it, there's a sense of like needing to be like in spite of, and there's less excitement over someone who was like also not that like, yes, I also don't like generational wealth, but like plenty of successful Caucasian people out of generational wealth. And we as a society don't get excited if you're like, oh, that person like went to school with, that's a person of color who went to school, like the top school, went to Harvard with all the same generational wealth and also did well. People are like, whatever, they went to Juilliard and they didn't get a scholarship, they paid their way, so whatever.
Right.
What? Like they're still talented. I don't know.
It's
so strange.
Yeah. Very interesting.
But it is like the story of how you did it for so short, like so committed, and then just so backed off is so interesting to me. I'm curious I'm curious in your adult life, like is that something that like a pattern that you've been able to, like you're very good at, like just kind of, you're not an addictive personality, you're just like, I want to stop, I stop. But not so much where you're like scared to try, It seems like you're like, I want to try things, and then I learn I don't like it, and you're just good. Like,
let me tell you something. I've told this to a couple people. Whenever people when you meet new people and they're like, oh, what do you do? Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, in entertainment, such and such and such. And they're like, oh, so you do it? I don't necessarily. I can't say that I'm in this because I love it. So I do love it. I do love it. But that has not so much to do with it, because I like a lot of things. Okay. But I'm doing this because it worked. That's the thing. Like once it stops working, I fully have to acknowledge that and quickly find the thing that did. Because I have the kind of confidence that I have is that I'm confident that I'll find something that will work for me. It might not be my top thing, my number one thing, the thing that I absolutely want, but that I want the most. Some people are like, I can do anything. I can't do anything, but I can do something. And
that's your I mean, I would argue that you can do a lot of things well, but what makes you do it well is you approaching it with that attitude. I don't think it's a coincidence that you do things well, but it probably helps you do it to think that it's a coincidence. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I don't know, a coincidence. No,
or like the feeling of like, I don't know, I didn't pick this, it just picked me. Well, are you an Earth sign by any chance?
I don't know. I'm a Libra.
Oh, air sign. Okay.
That's air? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's very balanced.
Right. It's the scales. That I know.
I mean, I don't know. I do love astrology, but it is more than just your sun sign, so we don't have time to get into your chart. But that's so interesting, though, that you just do. So you almost, it sounds like you are almost like programming yourself like a robot, like, which is a new thing for me. I recently have started during quarantine being like, I can reprogram my negative patterns, but where you're like doing things, like putting inputs and like experiencing life, and then you're like, if it doesn't work, I will, Roomba my way to another thing. And
I had to. Yeah. Because when I came out, because like I didn't have a degree, and I didn't have like a fallback plan, but I knew that I wanted to do entertainment, like writing and acting is what I wanted to do. I came out here, the first thing that you would want to be is like a Denzel or Idris Elba. Okay, that's not gonna work. But comedy, I started progressing in that realm. So that's what I didn't come out here thinking anything comedy wise. But that started working. So then that's what I stuck with. I kind of like within the realm of what you want to do. People will let you know like what they want to see from you, I guess.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. No, I mean, I think this is interesting tying back to what you said about free will, because like, well, there's no way to truly know until we're at the end, right? And then you can't come back and tell anyone. But like, that's the thing. It's like you don't know until it's over. Like, which philosophy worked? Because at any point, it could be one or the other. But I fundamentally don't think I see the world that way, but it doesn't mean that I'm right or you're wrong. Like, and also we're different people moving through different spaces. So like, it could be that we're both right. But I've always, from like a young age, thought like the only way to get to where I want is to like know what I want first and then only go for that and not take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Which has worked for me so much as I'm still alive and here.
Right.
Hard to tell if it would have gone any differently had I gone with the flow. Like if the flow took me somewhere else and it wasn't what I wanted, but I did it well, like I could be just as happy. So it's hard to really know.
Yeah. I think it comes down to, I don't think that the way that I do it works for everybody, for sure. Like I said, there are some people who are like, I can do anything. My type of, that's just not the confidence that I've ever had of like, I can do.
Really? You made counterfeit bills? That seems pretty common.
Well, I did it until it didn't seem like it was going to work anymore. That's the thing. Like, I will try anything. But like, once it seems like it's not going to work.
I tried to make a fake Game Boy for my sister, my twin, as a gift. And it wasn't like, I didn't even have any engineering skills. It was like, she wanted a Game Boy. I could not afford it. I was like 10.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
like,
sweet.
Buttons and cardboard, like nothing like a game. Like I was just like, what's the closest I, with my limited scope, can get to it? And not close at all, but enough where I feel like that's now been my approach to things. Like I'll do things. I'm like, that's nothing like the thing you want, but like then I am slightly closer. I don't know. Like, but it's
of course you are. No, but that's so sweet though. That's really nice. You're Santa Claus. You were like literally Santa Claus.
I literally was like putting
just making it in your
like beads
workshop
on the AD. Like I'm like, this is obviously not a Game Boy.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Oh my Lord. What if you had a child and they did something like that for you? Like if you that would be so sweet.
Would it? Or just be like insufferable? Because then it's like it's like I wanted the credit of being like, well, you know, if I had the money, I would have gotten your Game Boy. So I should deserve the thanks of a Game Boy. It's like, but it's not. It's not a Game Boy.
I love it. I love it.
Oh man. Well, I think this is a great place to get into our final segment, a game. I kind of wrote this. Okay, this is called Questions, which is like questions that are wish-based.
Yes.
Because I saw that you're doing a series called Dimension, and my
Dimension 20.
Okay, is it sort of Dungeons and Dragons related, or maybe
Dungeons and Dragons, yeah.
So I never got that into it, but I love fantasy and I love the idea of like role play, RPG games. So this is not anywhere as complicated as that. These are just, I have a few questions that are basically like specific wish prompts that you have to answer. But that's where I got it from, because I'm like, ooh, Dungeons and Dragons, imagination. So you can imagine. All right, here's the first one. If you could time travel to anywhere in your own timeline, like within your own life, for 6 minutes, and you're just an observer, okay, just so you go and you watch the 6 minutes. When would you go to?
I would go to when I did my showcase for SNL. I would go to that, and that was I don't know, 5 minutes or whatever. I would want to see that. Yeah,
just to watch it as an observer in the audience.
Yeah. Nice. That was at the old iOS that doesn't exist anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah. I love that. Your own biggest fan. Support yourself.
I would want to see. I want to see it because people said that John Hamm was there, and people said that John Hamm laughed. So I want to see. That's what awesome. I want to see.
That's really
That's
cool.
what I want to watch.
That's huge, though. That is like a big moment. Like, I feel like that's huge, especially if you told your childhood self, like, here I am showcasing for SNL. Like. Yeah,
I want to see if that happened. Yeah, I want to see if that happened. How was this? Did he laugh for real? And did he? And you know, how much did he laugh? Yeah.
So you'd be watching John Hamm, not yourself, or would you be seeing if you laughed?
No. Oh, no, I wouldn't laugh. Because like those, those characters, like it's.
Gotcha. Okay, watching John Hamm. I like that. Okay. If you could have the strongest X and the weakest Y of any human in the world, what X and Y do you pick?
If I could have the strongest, such and such,
anything,
and the strongest
and the
Y.
weakest,
weakest
of one thing, weakest of any human, which would be the things?
Strongest and weakest. Damn. Okay. Shit. If I could have the strongest, I would say Wait, can I say the strongest brain?
Sure. Yeah,
I
it
would
could really
have.
be anything. It could be like imagination. It could
Wait,
be like foot, you know?
yeah, no. I would say, well, when I say brain, I mean like mentality, like
Okay, like your
mental
intelligence?
fortitude. No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
like mental fortitude.
Okay.
Like strongest, like yeah, just like willpower, yeah, just like mental fortitude. And then I would say the weakest
That's a
temper.
weird one. Oh, I like that. I was thinking that too. I was like, weak is like anger, because that's fun.
Yeah.
And you could turn it into positive. We're like, yeah, I just don't get mad. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
been deemed the weakest temper in the world.
Or you do get mad all the time, but it's so weak.
Oh, yeah, like, anyway. I was so mad. Anyways,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly right.
I like that. Yeah, maybe I want the weakest sneeze. That could be kind of like.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, here's the final one. Okay, so you know like the phrase like being in the back of the room when you're like a comic, you're watching like your peers on stage. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like abstract, but if you could be in the back of the room for any like creative person, like artist, performer, musician, whatever, like when they were coming up, like someone that, now but like let's say you were like, a peer or whatever while they were already good but not their famous self, like, back
Right.
of the room watching.
Yeah.
Who would you pick to be there for, to watch like one of their sets, but before they made it big time?
Yeah. Damn, let's see. Oh, that's my cords falling everywhere. Okay, who would I pick? Damn. Who would I pick? Um, to see them come up, let's see. I would say you know what? I'm just gonna go with Nas.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
like to see because people say that he was like the thing that I think like set him apart in that era of like
Mm-hmm.
90s is that of 90s rap was that like obviously Biggie and Tupac have their thing, and Biggie has like the whole like all the characters like the Frank White like the King of New York like gangster like that whole thing, because he's like running the East
Mm-hmm.
Coast with that whole vibe. But then he can't. But then Nas comes in and it's like he's like a street prophet kind of. He's like talking about the devil and fighting, deep like spiritual warfare and stuff like that. So but he started rapping when he was like, I don't know, like 9, 10, or 11. So I would like to see I would kind of like to either see that or Kanye, honestly,
Oh
because
yeah.
Kanye's mentor, No
Uh-huh.
ID, says that when Kanye's mother brought Kanye to him to No ID when Kanye was 14, Kanye was Kanye at 14.
Wow.
Like everything that people say about, oh, he's like this because this happened to him or this No ID says he was that
It's
at
all
14.
there.
Yeah, it was all there. Everything was there.
Wow.
Not as so much the skill level, obviously, because he had to teach him stuff, but he had the creativity
Yeah.
that was there
Like the
and the
raw essence
tenacity.
of someone. Yeah.
Yeah, and the tenacity and the confidence and the all the like the braggadocious stuff. So like like you said, yeah, right. All the ingredients were there, and he just had to give him like lessons, like okay, go make a beat like this or I had know nothing about music really at all,
I
but
love
he would
that.
give him whatever
To see
task.
that,
And
yeah, because when
yeah, to see
knowing what you
Kanye
know
that
about them now and then watching it,
yeah
it's so cool. And then Nas is cool because it's like, I think like what you said, like you're building off of the context of what came before too. So knowing
yeah
now where Nas is, but like going back to a time when nobody or was not mainstream
right
yet.
yeah
To
nobody
watch how
yeah no
people
no
felt based on what you know
right.
about the context is really cool.
Oh, that's right. That's exactly it, Teresa. That is
Yeah.
exactly. I would love to see that. Like this 10 or 11-year-old and he's rapping about these things. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what is that?
Uh-huh.
But it's good. Like, what is? I would love to see like how people felt in the room because they knew somehow. Like people
Yeah.
knew. Like, watch out for this kid. Yeah, it's all. Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, thank you for sharing all that and for your answers. Can you tell our listeners where to follow you, find you, whatever, to check out your comedy, anything?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Again, Pretty Smart is coming out on Netflix October 8th. I have Instagram, it's at @Chestang. I have Twitter at Chestang Raphael. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yay, thanks for doing the pod. You can follow this podcast at Tell Me Anything Pod and follow me on Instagram at Teresa Lee.
Thank you for listening to You Can Tell Me Anything. You Can Tell Me Anything is a comedic podcast created and produced by Teresa Lee on the Hoo Ha Ha Podcast Network. The Hoo Ha Ha team is Ashley McAtee, Audrey Povar, Maggie Wheat-Austin, Cardi Assad, and Stephanie Bignot. The theme song for this podcast was created by Cody Johnston. The outro music was written by Shipwrecked Sailor. And the Hoo Ha Ha app can be found in the Apple Store to stream your favorite comedy series and laugh out loud podcasts by the funniest women in comedy. To contact this podcast specifically, you can email tellmeanythingpod@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at tellmeanythingpod. Thank you.